Humidus podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to the Humidus podcast once more. With me, El Percusor, your loyal host. And by my side, it is, as ever, Steph.
Hello, what a wonderful time to be alive.
Indeed, Steph, indeed. How you been doing?
I've been enjoying my time in Cyberpunk in Night City. It's been taking good care of me.
Oh, yeah, it has?
Well, yeah, I'd say so. Overall, I've been having more fun than not, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure, me too. I've been playing a lot of Cyberpunk. And we're going to get to that a little bit later in the podcast. We're going to discuss our first impressions with the game, like we said, and we're going to address like a little bit of the controversy surrounding the game.
Absolutely, and I
And
guess
the launch.
our impressions with the bugs and everything as well.
Yeah, because we have been covering it on two different platforms. But to start off today, we're going to talk about something really interesting, and I would say, positive in all respects and manners.
Yeah,
it is like the Disney investor call, where we got to know, the announcements of like a significant expansion to both Star Wars and the upcoming Marvel.
Yes.
Streaming. They're going heavy on the streaming, it seems.
Yeah, it's safe to say.
But what did you what did you think? It was a very, very extensive announcement.
Like earlier this week when I saw that they were going to have this investor call, I wasn't really sure, how much they were going to announce, because, I sent you that article and then we thought like, this could turn out to be something, but then I didn't expect like 52 announcements from Disney Plus. So I think they recognized the issue that, the platform was a little bit light on original content, and now they're just like coming out swinging with gorilla arms and mantis blades. So
yeah, good little cameo there.
yeah.
Well,
but the one I'm most excited about is definitely fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi and Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader. I can't contain myself with.
That's definitely it for me too, and I think that will be it for a lot of people. It's almost like too much to take in, because there's so much goodies in here. Obviously there's something that's not that interesting, but there's just so much heavy shit coming out. So you almost feel a little bit or overwhelmed by all the heavy hitters. But Obi-Wan Kenobi, the series, I mean, whoa.
Yeah, and it's also, like I've mentioned before, it's Deborah Chow at the helm as well, and I put my faith in her because she made my favorite episode of the previous season of The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So, like, if she's at the helm of this, we have Ewan McGregor back as Obi-Wan, obviously. We have Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader. It's all going to lead up to a rematch between them. That's the best thing they could do with the kind of Obi-Wan on Tatooine kind of storyline, honestly.
Yeah, and like the established characters of Hayden and Ewan McGregor, it's just they know these parts, even though people hated on Hayden Christensen for like, I think that he will play a much better, middle-aged Darth Vader.
He's not even middle-aged yet, is he? I think he's like not even 40 yet. So he's gonna look just grizzled, I think.
Yeah, just a little bit grizzled. Yeah, he's of course very disfigured.
Heavily grizzled.
Yeah. So age won't be like the main factor here, but yeah, it's gonna be a very like exciting duo to revisit, and I feel that there's almost limitless potential in a setting like that.
Oh yeah,
just they can milk it, to high heaven and still have a great franchise going.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, Star Wars is ripe for it, and I'm glad that Disney kind of finally is, capitalizing on it. Even if
Mm,
this is still kind of baby steps though, compared to all the legends that they can expand upon. So this is still, but
yeah.
it's very interesting to see regardless.
But I
I
think that they don't, yeah, they don't want to like pull out that kind of lore heavy shit before this. They kind of rebuild the Star Wars credos a little bit.
Yeah, and Mandalorian is doing them a lot of favors there because season 2
Yeah.
is just amazing. It's the best Star Wars has been in a long, long time.
Still haven't seen it. Still haven't seen it. Still
I
saving it up.
You're gonna just sit there with your dick in hand, constantly. It's just gonna be instinctual.
Yeah, my proboscis, right?
Yeah, it's like one of those. You're gonna enjoy it a lot. It's that simple. It's a great show. First season was great. Second season is just like wow. So I
It
don't
just,
know. It's
yeah, it sounds, yeah. All the people. I mean, I haven't seen anything because I kind of was on the fence with buying Disney Plus or streaming it. Um, but I think that I might be ready now to like go beyond because I've been waiting for it to be available on my TV's OS because that's like a
right.
because if not, then I'll have to do it like via the computer. And I just have the desktop. I don't have a laptop. I have a Mac for a laptop, and that, yeah, it's just a little bit clunky.
Yeah,
So
I
when
can
the
see that.
OS on my TV supports Disney Plus, but I think that it's like coming right around the corner now. So as it's growing in popularity.
Yeah, and with
Um,
these announcements, it's not gonna get any less popular.
oh no, yeah, and we have a lot more Star Wars announcements also. Like Star Wars: The Bad Batch,
Hmm.
which is an animated series that is like based on the previous series from the Clone Wars series.
Yeah.
And
So this, yeah, the thing that's a bit exciting about this one is that obviously the Bad Batch is like this gang of highly specialized clones that were genetically altered even further to be um, extremely specialized. So you have this extreme leader focused character that looks a little bit like Sylvester Stallone. You have
okay,
this one like giant kind of space marine physicality looking guy who is like insanely strong, and then you have one that's like a super hacker. It's kind of tropey, and
mm,
it builds a little bit on. I feel like they could have just used the Republic Commandos because they were already established and are already loved by fans of the game. But
mm,
I digress. I saw the trailer. I wasn't that excited. Their storyline in the last season of Clone Wars was pretty good, but it wasn't the best,
no,
and it was tropey, like I said. But then when I saw the trailer, they're essentially going to deal with their story after or during Order 66 and beyond, like when they just turn into Empire, which really got me more interested.
mm, yeah.
So yeah.
And
Otherwise,
then yeah,
yeah. Go on.
we also have an anime coming up, Star Wars Visions,
Yeah.
uh, which is gonna be like an anthology.
Hmm.
What do you think about that?
Um,
Maybe, yeah, probably very artsy.
I guess so. I mean, if you look at have you seen those animated snippets that are already out about Star Wars?
And only fan made ones.
Okay, because there's this other one as well that's kind of it has like very very short kind of like it takes some of the highlights from the series, the most iconic moments, and make them into animation,
Hmm.
and they look amazing. So if it's
Yeah,
an anime version of that, more expanded upon, then I'm very very excited. Excited to see that.
yeah. I've always felt that Star Wars would lend itself very, you know, good as an anime
Yeah.
because like it has some shonen esque features, and
Yeah, it does.
it can be like, you know, Sith and Jedi battles can be highly stylized, and
Oh yeah.
the focus on how like they are superhuman in speed, and they can kind of hacks with the force during battle. That I feel always felt that that was a very appropriate kind of function for anime.
Can you imagine if they announced like a 150 episode Star Wars anime?
Like a One Piece sized Star Wars anime, like
Oh
1 billion episodes.
man, I mean,
Just
like,
chronicling all of like Star Wars in an anime. Just start at the very first kind of the beginning.
I would watch it. I'm not gonna lie. I think, like, let's say if the animators were someone like, let's say Madhouse or Production IG, like the people that did
Oh yeah.
the newest Hunter x Hunter stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah, that would be insane. That would be insane. Yeah, so I mean, the Star Wars anime is. I think that. Have you seen that the Tie Fighter animation?
Yeah, I've seen that one.
No, that's just so fucking cool. I love that to bits. Oh,
Imagine Palpatine in anime form.
oh, he would be so great, like that ultimate bad guy, which he of course is already, but in
Yeah,
anime form, he would be like even more caricatured, just so fucking evil. Oh my god, Palpatine, I fucking love that guy.
yeah.
Imagine
Uh,
just fucking enjoying being an evil, scheming, power hungry bitch,
yeah,
which he is.
and you're also the ultimate mastermind.
He's scheming like to take over the entire galaxy. Yeah, no problem. Being the emperor can be boring at times. Palpatine was known for hating to use lightsabers,
Hmm.
in combat, but he still would use lightsabers to fight Jedi just so he could demonstrate that they were inferior and would be killed by him, even by his least favorite weapon, which is just like such an evil emperor thing to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Execute Order 66.
imagine that! Imagine that!
The Japanese
Oh,
dub.
like yeah, a very or like yeah, some Japanese English phrases in the anime is of course proper, like we discussed on the last podcast.
Yeah.
It is a staple
Luke,
hallmark of any anime.
フォースを使え.
Mm, yeah, full Sotsukai.
I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
endless possibilities. I would be pretty excited. But in a more realistic approach, though, I mean, they already made the announcement that there are several projects about Darth Bane. If they made
Mm.
an anime about Darth Bane, like his entire like trilogy of books, for example, I think that would be absolutely smashing as well.
Yeah, but I think yeah, I think that like the power of Darth Bane would be
Yeah,
more easily translated uh to an animated universe, because you
yeah,
need to kind of scale the power correctly, if you know what I mean. You can especially like things like speed
yeah,
is hard to do in live action, even if you could do it. But in anime, you can very easily illustrate that this is 10 times faster than a normal human being, and stuff like that.
yeah. And this was actually a gripe I had with the Mandalorian. I'm like, this is very minor spoilers,
Hmm.
because I'm sure that the people who listens to this have already seen it, and I'm not going to cover into any plot. But you know, I'm sure you've noticed that Ahsoka Tano has made her live action debut, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You told me also.
Right, right. So, Mr. Spoiler Boy here. Anyways, it's all over the internet. I'm not going to go into any plot on about it, but there are sections where she fights normal plebeian soldiers, and there are a section where she has a duel with someone.
Yeah.
The section where she was fighting soldiers was fine. It was still a little bit slow, but it wasn't bad. It was fine. But for the duel, it was hella slow, and it was very poorly choreographed, I thought.
Mm,
Um, if you compare this to someone like, for example, the fight in episode one, between Obi Wan
yeah,
and Maul and Qui Gon, like
yeah,
it's and Ahsoka especially is known for her acrobatic,
yeah.
very like
Right.
fast style,
Very
and
fast lightsaber fighting.
yeah, and then in this one it was I guess maybe the actress didn't have that much time to prep, and also maybe the choreographer wasn't that good. Maybe they didn't have one.
Yeah,
Um,
and I mean, like Darth Maul, to be fair, was like a very, very seasoned stuntman
true.
and had like insane experience with, you know, fighting
Yeah,
and choreography. So I mean, yeah,
yeah,
but still, yeah,
but imagine even in episode 2 and 3, like for example, the fight between Anakin and
and
Obi
Obi
Wan,
Wan.
or
Yeah,
like Dooku, these things they were still way better. I wanted at least that, and she's getting her own show, so hopefully they'll fix that there. But
yeah,
for Bane, you also have, like, for example, there's a scene in one of the books where Bane is fighting this other um Force. I don't remember if it's a Jedi or Sith, but they're fighting, and they're in like this huge corridor, and they're just like going balls deep on the fight, right? And it's just like four like extreme force powers just like smashing together as they're also dueling, and it's just like insane amounts of power. And then
mm,
there's this mercenary who's really seasoned and really hardcore as well, that kind of rounds the corner and approaches them, and she gets too close. She's just hit by one of the force shockwaves, and it throws her. It absolutely breaks every bone in her body and just like fucking shatters and ragdolls her like fucking 100 meters down the corridor, and she ends up in like this crumpled fucking broken heap, dies
yeah,
instantly.
yeah,
So this is the kind of power we're talking about here, and an
yeah,
anime would be perfect to show this.
yeah. I feel like that too because I don't know that type of power. I feel that animation and anime is very good at translating, that type of power and
Yeah.
translating a very stylized application of ridiculous power.
Yeah.
I mean, look at One Punch Man. Look at like
Oh yeah.
how that entire series is just, based around being able to translate to the viewer how powerful these attacks and these movements are and how fast they are, you know and it's such a like textbook kind of example of how to visually transmit that type of feeling with speed and power and I feel that art, which is an art to be able to translate that,
Yeah.
is, I mean, Japanese anime is the peak of that,
I
and
agree.
thus it lends as well. Yeah, it lends as well itself well to Star Wars.
Man, I'm excited. This can be a lot of interesting things. So,
Yeah,
but I'm not gonna keep my hopes up for too long, because I don't think there's many details about it yet at all. It's just mentioned that there is an anthology.
it is. Yeah, and it is like based on an investor call, which is, it's definitely a very financial incentive here,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get. So they probably preempt a lot of this stuff by a lot,
Hmm.
even though they like announced late fall 2021 Hawkeye, a lot of the it's like 2021 slated, a lot of the Marvel stuff, but it's not written in stone. This is just kind of throwing it a little bit out there to generate investor positivity.
Right. And but the other ones for Star Wars, like Star Wars Andor,
Hmm.
um, Cassian Andor wasn't exactly the most exciting part of Rogue One, to put it
No.
lightly. But when I looked at the trailer, I was like, yeah, I mean, this looks interesting enough. And if you have Disney Plus, you might as well watch it, right?
Sure, sure.
So could show some cool Empire stuff.
Absolutely. Anything that Star Wars has the potential to be good, I feel.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But what do you think about like all the Marvel stuff? I'm not that into like the deep Marvel. I'm more of a like casual enjoyer of Marvel.
Yeah.
But because there's like a lot like Loki's own series, that's maybe like the one that caught my eye the most.
Yeah,
Um,
I guess that one is the most kind of outstanding. Uh, but there's not that much new stuff here. It's a
no,
lot more like confirmation and updates about things that were announced previously. So
yeah, yeah.
Loki definitely is interesting. I'm very curious as to see where they bring that character because, of course,
Mm,
it's a character with a lot of potential. But I'm also kind of curious about this whole thing about WandaVision and the multiverse because WandaVision is going to tie in with both Spider-Man 3
yeah,
and also the next Doctor Strange movie, which I'm also very, very interested in because that one has it's called In the Multiverse of Madness.
yeah, and that's gonna be like probably a lot of characters are gonna kind of congest into that, don't you
Yeah,
think?
and it's all of these. I really think this is a great next step to keep the interest going after like the massive epic that was the Infinity War saga, right? So
Yeah, yeah. I think that that will be like in that vein, in that style of
yeah,
movie. And
um,
the cinematic universe is it looks like it's opening up a little bit to the main Marvel universe, which is very, very insanely extensive.
yeah,
Like you could you could talk about this for years, and not even dip your pinky toe into the first layer of it. So
I
it's
mean there
very
are.
extensive.
Have you seen those? There's this YouTuber called Comics Explained or something. Have you seen that guy?
Yeah, I've seen that. I've listened to like some discussions of power. I mean, that's like the most nerdy
Yeah,
you can like ever get when you get into DC and Marvel power level discussions.
yeah, I know.
I mean, like 40-minute long YouTube videos just detailing specific characters, power level, and like how they scale, very elaborately trying to kind of bind these power scales up to uh, comparable events that you can kind of extrapolate into the real world and calculate joules and stuff like that.
Yeah,
These people are like, this is so. I mean, that's beyond my level,
that's
even for me.
yeah, that's way beyond like and comic books the comic explain guy also has many of those like where he just summarizes a lot of the big events in
Mhm.
Marvel. So and these are like 3 hour videos, and sometimes I would just
Yeah,
keep them on in the background while I'm doing other stuff, and just like listen to it.
yeah. I feel that that's very interesting to listen to the dedication from these people who know all this stuff,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like think of all the prep for making a video like that. But still, like the DC and Marvel universes have so many retcons and so many parallel universes, and they refer to the parallel universes like, yeah, this is universe blah 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 blah
yeah,
blah,
yeah.
like there's 100 different universes, and you got to keep your tongue straight in your mouth for this one.
Oh man, I
uh
I I
yeah.
I I can honestly say I've read some comics in later years and tried to like at least read some of the big events, but it's like I always have to find a reading list.
Mm.
Or like let's say I wanted to read Civil War,
Yeah.
and I had to look up like reading order and stuff like that. And there's like a million. I mean, you have the main books, but then you also have like a million side like parallel comics that that tie into it. So it's like, many characters are doing many things at the same time, and then you have to kind of keep track of it all, unless you suddenly it's not enough to just read the main books. You have to kind of get that,
Yeah.
that other info, and it becomes very exhausting, because every time I finish reading a 20-page issue, I'm like, all right, I read Fantastic Four number 237. Next
Hmm.
on the reading list is, Miles Morales number 1657.4. It's
Yeah.
like that, right?
Taking place in universe number 264 pound, or Earth, Earth X25, something like that,
Radio wave 166 megahertz.
yeah, yeah. And people these guys will simply like state, yeah, that's a Yada level, Yada Jewel level attack that he performed in that universe. And it's like, yeah, that's exajewel level, petajoule level attack. So it's like, this is a planetary, this is a city level destructive power. This is like a universe level destructive. So yeah, people are. Let's just say they're nerdy.
You know
But
what's funny?
yeah,
I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but the symbiotes, right?
yeah.
Like, and you know that they've introduced the god of the symbiotes, the guy who created them, right? Have you seen?
Mhm.
Have you heard about that guy?
No, no.
Because all right, he's insanely hardcore and all that, and
Yeah,
you know what his name is?
no, no.
Knull.
Okay, okay, okay. I've actually heard that name. I've actually heard that name. So for those of you who don't know Norwegian, that's a very dirty word in Norwegian.
Yeah, it sure is. Straight up copulation, baby,
Yeah.
and not the
So
scientific way of saying it either.
no, that's a dirty way to say it. But uh, yeah, that's. But I have actually heard his name when you mentioned that in one of those power scaling videos.
He is the guy who first said "full styrke, her kommer jeg."
Yeah, I can imagine. With a name like that, he better.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god.
No,
But yeah,
Jesus.
the Marvel, like the full on Marvel universe, is very very extensive, and I mean, if there were to bring a little bit of that, that's very good, I think, for the cinematic universe, but not too much. It can complicate things very fast.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's a very an exciting thing to see how they're gonna balance it. But so far, I think it's fine, because a lot of these are like small series. Falcon and the Winter Soldier is only one season as far as I know. WandaVision, same thing. Loki, maybe same thing. And
Yeah.
then you have they also announced, like, for Ant-Man 3, Kang the Conqueror is gonna be the villain, and he can potentially be the next Thanos, because in the
Mm.
comics apparently he's this insane enemy. Um,
Hmm. Hmm.
and then you have, they're making a new Fantastic Four movie, which means obviously Doctor Doom, which is
Mm.
one of he's basically Marvel's Palpatine.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a lot of cool stuff here, and
Yeah.
they
There's
also confirmed that Spider-Man 3 is gonna be Spider-Verse, which I'm very
Mhm.
excited for. Alfred
Yeah,
Molina is
that's
back as Doc Ock.
oh yeah, Doc Ock. I mean, I fucking love Doc Ock. in, in the Raimi movies, and I just fucking yeah. Even still remember um when he was saying about the arms, beautiful, aren't they?
Yeah,
Impervious to heat and magnetism. And like the quote, the power of the sun in the palm of my hand.
but
Just
that's
so powerful quotes
yeah,
and
jeez.
deliveries that it stuck with me as a kid. And yeah, I always remembered, being Doc Ock as like kind of good guy supervillain or
Yeah.
superhero. Sorry, um, I always imagined that that would be possible. You know,
Mm.
because it's like based on technology. It's just interfacing with his spinal cord. Uh, and I always thought that yeah, that would be like a feasible way to become a superhero. You know.
Yeah, true.
So I always admire Doc Ock as a kid.
And especially Molina's version, if they are sticking with the very same one that was in Spider-Man 2, because
Mm.
he turned good in the end, and he was more
Yeah,
like misunderstood and on like a, how to say, emotionally fueled
yeah,
rampage
and the
kind of.
AI in the machine, kind of affected him also.
Right.
So he wasn't thinking, clearly uh, through the entire kind of debacle. He was being affected by the AI in the machine
Yeah.
in the
So I'm,
arm.
I'm very excited for that, and they all obviously also confirmed Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and Miles Morales is coming. I don't think they've announced his casting yet, just that he has been casted. I'm very excited to see all of it.
Yeah, yeah, me too. Yeah, that's gonna be one for me. That I'll definitely watch. And but also, Black Panther 2 was confirmed, and
Yes,
they're not gonna recast Chadwick Boseman,
which
which
I think that's actually a good decision, because I think it would be
yeah,
jarring. You know,
yeah, I also think that would be very jarring. He was such an established character, but do you think that are they gonna like? Did he get to record a lot of scenes, or do you know that?
I don't know. All I
Are
know
they
is
gonna use like an animation of his face, like Terminator style?
that hopefully they'll do him justice, because it was such
Yeah.
a impactful tragedy overall with
Mhm.
the passing of Chadwick Boseman. And
Mm.
I know that Shuri, his sister, is gonna take over the mantle as Black Panther, which I think could be
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Um, and if they execute it right, which I think they're not gonna like wing it. They're gonna put some effort into making this a proper transition. I'm sure. So
Yeah. Yeah. So he's
I
probably like gonna die and in Black Panther 2,
yeah,
and they'll pass the torch on. And they'll try to do that like with you know, some previous scenes and some editing and digital magistry.
could be. I hope it's something like that. I hope at
Yeah.
least I hope it works. Otherwise, we have
Yeah, we have some Ice Age getting a spin-off series. We have like a lot of small I mean, we could discuss this for a year, I feel. Um
oh,
like the
one more
yeah.
exciting thing. Is that Charlie Cox is confirmed as, like, his Daredevil is gonna be the Daredevil in the main Marvel
Mm,
movies as well, which I am so happy about, because I thought Daredevil, like the Netflix Marvel series,
mm,
especially Daredevil and Punisher, were fucking
yeah.
amazing. I mean, of course, Daredevil, they both had their problems, but the character portrayals and overall, like, just the lasting impression of those shows.
Yeah. Mhm.
Kingpin and Daredevil, the characters there are amazing, and their fights are absolutely great. And Punisher, John Bernthal is like just killing it, literally.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, man, like I'm currently rewatching Punisher because I'm watching it with my dad. He hasn't seen it, and
Yeah.
he's also like, man, he's absolutely invested in Punisher now.
Mm.
So I'm really excited to see that they're not going to recast it. They're just going to use Charlie Cox as Daredevil in the main Marvel universe as
Yeah.
well, which means
Yeah.
Punisher could come as well.
Mhm. Yeah, that sets up the potential for like future iterations.
Yeah, and with Blade upcoming, Moon Knight is coming. So then you have a potential more darker show where, like, you could do
Yeah.
team ups, because Moon Knight is also a pretty fucked up superhero.
Mhm, mhm.
So yeah, I'm really excited for that part. The new Blade as well, I'm excited about. So
Yeah. Yeah, we've got a lot to be excited about here. Let's just say it's a very packed lineup from the investors call.
It's a good time to be alive. In
Yeah,
some
it is,
regards.
and yeah, but COVID. I feel I just talked to my girlfriend about this. Earlier today. I feel that 2021 is going to be at least like the latter part of 2021, and maybe even in summer. I think that people are going to be euphoric, almost like very happy
Yeah,
because it's been such a dark, very negative, very gloomy year, and the contrast to that when summer comes, and maybe I'm just talking about Norway here because we live in
could be.
complete darkness right now. But yeah, I feel that 2021 is gonna bring hope, to both in terms of entertainment and, and in terms of the general kind of state of the world.
You know, listening to what you just said, there was just one thing in my mind that just started playing out. And I guess
Mhm.
part of it is influenced by my Chaos Undivided Christmas shirt, sweater that I'm sitting here with. But
Go on.
I just imagined this whole, like, you were like, yeah, people living in darkness, and then light dawns, and everybody's
Mhm.
euphoric. And then the next step was obviously orgies, and then Slanesh descends, and Earth goes to shitswell with chaos.
Yeah. People are euphoric and people start fucking in the streets, and then it goes on, mutates into murder fucking and
Yeah, yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah.
impaling each other on dildos and stuff like that. And then Slanesh comes. Oh yeah. You know, birth into existence by our debauchery.
Yeah. I mean, we are essentially we are the equivalent of the Warhammer universe's Eldar.
Yeah, yeah, we are peak civilization right now. So you heard it here first.
The debauchery will just create Slanesh.
Oh yeah. Well, let's hope that that doesn't. That would peak 2020.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, yeah, that would certainly peak 2020.
That would eclipse 2020. But yeah, let's. I don't think that people. I think that 2021 is going to be a good year. At least, like not the first half of it, but when summer comes, when autumn comes, we're all going to be happy. We're all going to look towards the future. We're going to try to cooperate, and people will be happy again, and we'll try to tackle climate changes, and we're going to be looking ahead, looking forward to solutions rather than quarreling.
Yeah, I also hope that that's where we're going towards.
Hmm.
Um, and speaking of peak society, I guess we can talk about our initial.
Yeah, yeah. Segueing on to Cyberpunk 2077, the
Yeah,
dystopian future after World War III. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. So, like everybody and their mother has, you know, gotten to experience the Cyberpunk 2077 release has been not the perfect release people were hoping for.
yeah,
Um, we've both played the game. We've both kind of followed every content creators rundown of the release and what people think, their impressions. I don't know. Do you want to start?
yeah. So I'm playing it on the Series X, and
Mhm.
as it stands, it is old, the previous gen version of the game, but of course it's taken advantage of the better hardware, so it runs at 60 FPS.
Yeah. So
Um,
it's not optimized for the console, but
no, it's not.
you have more powerful hardware. So
Yeah, and I performance wise, I'm happy with it. Like,
yeah.
I think it looks a bit. It's not as beautiful as it could have been, obviously, but we knew that.
Mhm.
And it's not a big issue for me. It still looks good enough, and I think this game, by the time the next gen update comes, I'm more than willing to play it again.
Mm.
And
But
by
do
that
you have
time,
like
yeah,
do you get that for free with the
yeah,
purchase?
yeah,
Or
yeah, yeah.
yeah, okay. Yeah, that's very good. Yeah.
So I was fully aware of what I was headed into, and
Yeah.
I would say that I think I'm about 20 hours in, and
Mhm.
I have barely done any main story. I think I'm on the first mission after the prologue, but I am like almost level 20 because I've just been grinding all kinds of side quests. Um,
Yeah.
and by the time
Wow.
I got to the end of the prologue, I had, you know, gorilla arms implant. I was like fully decked in cyberware. I had a legendary katana. I had like all these things, and I was just like
Yeah.
blasting, wrecking nerds left and right in all those story missions.
Yeah.
I was
But
ready to
did you
take on Adam Smasher when he showed. I was like, "Hey, bitch, just face my gorilla arms, boy."
Yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about, but probably you would get your ass handed to you by
Most
him.
likely, I think
Yeah.
so.
Because yeah, like you said, I've also been playing. I've done the exact same thing. I'm 20 hours in as well, but I'm not quite level 20. I have like I've also just done side missions,
Right.
and I did it probably a little too early, maybe because I didn't quite get to level 20, even though I played only side missions to level up. But yeah, I also got like a legendary knife, legendary pistol, like a lot of stealth and hackable, or I got a lot of quick hack ability. Got the legendary operating system from Vic.
Hmm.
Uh, and I was also ready to take on Smasher, but then I was finishing the prologue and getting downtown for the first time.
Yeah.
Um,
I know what you're talking
and
about.
I kind of tried to do like some random encounters there. The danger level was very high, but I thought that yeah, I can still manage.
Mm.
And I tried to like be very tactical and breach and hack and only do headshots, which is like how I play the game, like
Yeah,
very stealthy and just spamming headshots with a pistol, like maxing out crit and headshot damage.
headshot multiplier.
Uh,
That's so satisfying.
yeah, yeah. So because I that's so satisfying. A little tangent here, but since it mixes the RPG with the FPS
Yeah,
genre, you can kind of increase if you're good in at aiming and doing headshots, you can really increase your damage output. That's why I
yeah,
spec'd into pistols, like like young yeah did, um, because I wanted to like use a little bit of that FPS prowess to like peak out my damage.
right.
But still, in downtown, I got my ass completely handed to me. I think that my stat or life bar is very, I'm very squishy, so I
Okay, yeah,
kind of got leveled by 2 or 3 well placed shotgun shells or something like that, like a
yeah.
shotgun spread. Yeah, so I wasn't quite ready for that, even with all the grinding.
Well, my experience was a bit different because I
Yeah.
go the weapons I'm using. I'm going hard on melee, and I'm going hard, and I'm using pistols and shotguns.
Yeah,
Um, just for
as
variety.
expected.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So the thing is, but I focus mostly on melee,
Mhm.
and as it stands right now, since I have the Gorilla Arm cyberware, and I have,
Mhm.
I love those, by the way.
Yeah.
Finishing move animation, be damned. I love the feeling of just fucking wrecking nerds with my fists. But the katana as well. Like even in
Mm.
downtown, I saw. By the time I got there, the only places that were like very high was the waterfront.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
the rest of the places were either high or moderate, and even the ones that were high, I guess some of them might have been very high. There were red skulls over the enemies, but I'm so tanky, and I have all these slow mos when I dodge, and I have like 200 bounce backs and these things, right? The health
mhm,
items,
yeah,
and my DPS and my stun and everything is just like it doesn't matter. They,
yeah,
they they get obliterated. I mean, of course,
but
sometimes I have to dodge, um, like pop in and out and like wreck a nerd, pop back, and then do a little bit like that. But
yeah, sure.
it's
Yeah, but
really not a
I've noticed
problem.
that. Yeah, I've noticed that as well. When I fight with a melee weapon,
Yeah.
it's a little bit. I don't want to say broken, but it's a little bit easy to kind of get in heavy damage with a melee weapon.
Yeah,
I
it
had,
sure is.
yeah, I had the knife, a legendary knife,
Mhm.
and it was like insane, a lot better than my pistols
Yeah.
or my pistol rather. And I didn't spec melee at all, you know.
Right.
So melee is very effective, it seems. And if you spec, I can just only imagine. And you're probably a little bit higher than I was because I goofed around a little bit the first like couple of hours. I just,
Mhm.
sprinted around and tried to make my. And I had some problems also with the game. And I think that let's just kind of cover that first.
Right.
Um, so a lot of people have had a lot of issues with the state of the game
Yeah.
in these kind of first days after release. I have had some of these problems on PC.
Mhm.
I've had a couple of crashes that just you know simply exited the game.
Oh.
And I had one like hard freeze where I had to close it down myself. But after the NVIDIA drivers update that was, I think, a couple of days ago,
Mm.
uh, I had I've had almost a negligible amount of bugs for a game this size. Still, there's some janky moments.
Yeah.
Like I played it before the podcast, and then there was a guy kind of walking through a wall. Um, but
As you do.
yeah, as you do. And yeah, I've had like some moments like that, but after the update, it was very negligible. And
Mhm.
also, I've had I turned down the graphics options quite a ways down because I only have an RTX 980.
Mhm.
So I didn't want to like tax my card too hard, and it's been playing quite smoothly. I'm not on like low on everything, but like medium on most settings, and the most kind of taxing settings I've just turned off.
Right.
And it doesn't look bad at all. It's not like a cutting edge look on it, but it's still very very good graphics, and it plays very smoothly now. So I
Yeah.
don't actually have anything to complain about. Yeah,
I I have had many bugs, but I would say most of them are. There's only been one or two that has been game breaking, and most of them have just been funny. So I've just laughed at them.
yeah,
So a lot of them deals with because I also have the cyberware that makes me jump higher.
yeah. You have the legs. Yeah.
Yeah, so I do a lot of like if I see that it's faster to just run through a street or some houses, just climb some houses instead of driving all the way around. I tend to do that.
Mm,
Sometimes you get a very good vantage point on enemies and whatnot, so I tend to do that. But sometimes, and this they're very generous with what kind of geometry they let you climb,
yeah.
which I'm happy for. But then there are some times where, especially if whatever you're trying to climb is a little bit curved,
Yeah. Yeah.
what has happened many times is that it will suddenly it's as if you're slip and sliding on that along that curve, and then it launches you like 10 meters out in midair, which sometimes lands you to a 30-meter drop down on concrete and you die.
Ooh, yeah.
At one time it was almost I was climbing the side of this building trying to get to a side mission that was on like a rooftop terrace, and I was climbing this ventilation fan and it just launched me. And then I landed on my ass in a garbage container and died. I was like, this is almost too good to be true.
Oh,
So it's been a
a
lot of
fitting
that.
death
Yeah.
indeed.
Yeah. So it's been a lot of those that are so dumb that you kind of just laugh at it. There was this other
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
very early on, where you go to the Ripper Dock,
Mhm.
where you park because the Ripper Dock is a little bit like I'm not trying. This is very early in the game, so it's not a spoiler. Um, and then you go there with Jackie, and you have to enter this like walking street, right? So I parked just on the entrance of the walking street, because it's right next to the entrance. And then I walked in, did the mission, came out, and then I saw NPCs clipping through my car,
Mhm.
and I'm like, oh boy. If I drive now, are they gonna like take full damage, or what's gonna happen here?
Mm.
There was also this Red Skull kind of bounty
Yeah.
standing right next to me to the car as well. And I figured, and this was very early before I had any specs. I wasn't OP yet, so I was
No,
like, all
no.
right. So I quick saved and I tried. I got into the car, and as soon as I just touched touched the accelerator by like not even a millimeter. Like I went 1 millimeter per hour kind of speed, and this guy's like, "Oh!" and he dies, and then everybody around me is like, "Oh fuck you, man! What the fuck?" And then everybody opens
Yeah.
fire on me, and I instantly die. So I was like,
Yeah.
"All right, well,
Yeah, that's kinda, it's funny, but it's still kinda if you were like a very hardcore trying to be immersed in the
yeah,
universe type of player, you would like that's game breaking,
it,
that's not an
yes."
acceptable bug.
It's yeah,
Uh,
a lot to do with the vehicles has problems. Even though I feel like the driving itself feels nice, and I
yeah.
absolutely love using the. I have the Kusanagi bike, which is I love that thing to death.
Mm, mm,
But there was this one. I'm not usually a guy that gets broken out of immersion that much, but there was this one bug that really, really broke my immersion, and this one needs to be fixed
mhm.
because there is towards the end of the prologue, there's this very emotional scene.
Oh, oh, I think that I experienced the same. I think that
Yeah,
I experienced the same here. I was about to mention this. Yeah, okay, you
yeah,
go on.
because
Yeah.
there's a scene where a character is taking out like a chip from the neck to give it to you.
Yeah. Yes. That's the exact thing. I had the exact same bug,
Did
I
the gun
think.
still stay in his
With
hand,
the gun.
and
Yeah,
then it's
with the
stuck
gun
inside his
through
head?
his head. Yeah, with the
Oh
gun
man,
through his head, and this was actually I mean, I was already emotionally invested
yeah,
enough
yeah,
in this moment to
yeah,
feel, a little bit of the feels
yeah.
in this moment, and I knew it was gonna come. It's a very cliche moment,
Right.
you see it like a mile coming, but still, I was a little bit, I actually very much enjoy the game,
Yeah.
this far, and at this point, I knew it was coming, but when it hit, it was still kind of impactful. And at that moment, when the gun clips through the head
And stays there.
and stays there and looks, really ridiculous,
Oh,
it's just it takes you out of it, and I started laughing,
yeah,
in
yeah,
that,
yeah,
even though like seconds before I was about to shed a tear,
yeah.
I started laughing at that moment. So
That
I mean,
that was terrible.
that is terrible, and I feel that that's just a very like a polishing type of correction.
Yeah,
That's not something that should be in a game because this is okay. It's an in-engine cutscene. It's not a render or anything, but Jesus, we experienced the same thing.
yeah.
I
That
mean,
amazed me a little bit. Yeah.
yeah. Did you play it through? At least the prologue. By the way, what kind of background did you go for?
I did corpo.
Yeah, you did Corfu. Okay, so I did Corfu too.
Did you also yell at the hotel staff?
Yeah, I yelled at the hotel staff. I used the Corfu one.
Yeah, it was
But
so funny.
I mean, man, did you manage to get to level 20 in 20 hours? I mean, maybe that's not impressive, but I'm only like level 14.
I mean,
That
let's just put it this way: the first 6 hours was only me going from crime reported to crime reported, just like
yeah, but I did that too, I
yeah,
also like only grinded and grinded and grinded the small like minor missions, but I think that my mistake was that I also took all the violence on the baseball bat icons. Maybe that's crime. Is that crime? No, the crime report is the stars, right?
Yeah, the stars and the bats and the
Okay,
also the
okay.
skulls. Yeah, I just did, and all the bounty gigs. I did a lot of those, and I didn't hit level 20 before the prologue. Sorry, it was just after. I've done a lot of bounties in the different parts of the city after.
Yeah.
But I think I was about level 15, 16. But I was
Yeah.
street cred level
That sounds
25 or something by the time I got to.
yeah. Yeah, I'm street level 25 now, and I'm like level 15. I just finished like I'm Act 2 now.
Yeah, then
But okay, so you feel that there are a lot of game-breaking bugs. Did you have any
not
crashes? I mean,
no.
crashes on console is unacceptable, I feel.
There's
Yeah,
I've never crashed. I've
never
had
crashed.
it's times where it's locked up for like a couple of seconds, but then it seems like it's about to crash, but then it continues. So,
Yeah,
and
okay.
it's so rare that I feel like it's not a biggie. So I haven't
Mhm.
had any apart from um I haven't had any bugs that forced me to reload because something was broken.
No, yeah.
But I've had that immersion breaking one at that very vital moment was a big bummer, and
Yeah.
but most of it is just. I think one of the things I've noticed mostly because I'm doing melee is that a lot of the finishing moves are for the sword or like for bladed weapons. It's fine,
Mhm.
but for
For non-lethal, like
yeah,
for
and for
blunt
blunt
weapons.
weapons, it's at least for fists. It's
Yeah,
they're like because every time you kill an enemy with a strong attack, you do a finishing move, and
yeah,
sometimes that also happens if they are prone, but you do the finishing move as if they were standing up. So you're just
yeah,
like doing the motion, but the guy is already dead on the ground, and you're just like,
yeah,
I didn't need
yeah.
to do that. I just wanted to punch him quick to finish him off because I'm not leaving
Mhm.
any survivors, and just like run along, right?
Yeah, I can, relate to that. I don't I try to not I try to use the guns.
Right.
Uh but like using the knife, and I also got like epic electrical baton for the non-lethal takedowns,
Yeah.
the cyber psychos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um but I've noticed that even though I didn't spec anything in a
Yeah.
melee is like insanely effective. And
Yeah.
like a fucking strong attack with that electrical baton will just
Mhm.
flatten like any normal enemy,
Yeah.
even though and like the cyber psychos, which is it's supposed to be an encounter, almost like a mini boss.
Yeah.
They have like a substantial health amount of health. I just hack their opticals and just run out and smack them in the head a couple of times, and then the hack kind of takes effect.
Yeah.
They're disoriented for like a couple more seconds, and then they're done. They're like nothing, even though I didn't spec into melee at all. So yeah, melee is very effective.
It is, and of course, I have specced into it in terms of like I have 30% max health. I have all kinds of resistances and
Mhm.
extra armor percentages for on dodge and on finishing enemies and whatnot.
Yeah.
So for me, if I go for an enemy that's my level, then you know it's a non-issue unless they.
Mhm.
The only okay, this is a bit of a stupid story, but the first time, no, second time I faced Cyber Psycho,
Yeah.
I entered I had I entered the area and I immediately died. And I was feeling
Oh.
cocky because I would just like steamroll any enemy with my fists, right? Or
Mhm,
my sword.
mhm.
And then I just died immediately. I was like, "Oh shit." So I was like, all right, I got to do this tactical. I can't just like go in all Hisoka like, anymore.
The bus
So
is at the ready. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So now it's like, yeah, I pinged everything. I did all that shit. You know, and then I got to the enemy and I realized, and I just, I just completely, I punched him till he had like 1% health left. And then I used my non lethal pistol to finish him.
Mhm.
But you know what? And I was like, wait, this was really easy. What happened? And then I realized my nemesis in this game is explosive barrels because they will one
Yeah.
shot you.
Yeah. Was that the one in the like storage, the
Yeah,
Moxie storage? Yeah,
yeah,
I that exact thing happened to me. she actually sliced the explosive barrel, and I died, and she died as a result of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, explosive barrels are really impactful. And I also died to like a mine once that I was
Yeah.
unaware of. I didn't know that there were mines in the game, so I was like just casually after eradicating like a group of degenerate delinquents,
Yeah.
just walking around looting, and then I suddenly hear like, and then complete silence, darkness, dead and dead and dead indeed.
Oh,
So yeah.
I guess we should also like which difficulty are you playing on?
I'm playing on normal, so
Same.
I'm not having too much difficulty. I mean, the build that I'm going is kind of a haphazard build because I always do like you do. I always do like the brawler, assaulty. I mean, if I don't go for melee, I go for like assault weapons.
Right.
Max damage, just fucking running in there, just blasting guns.
Yeah.
Blazing, killing everybody. No stuff at all. But this time, I wanted to go for like hacking and using stealth, and I feel that it's actually very funny. And the sneaking system, and headshotting and cold blood, which is like a very huge type of perk with stealth,
Hmm.
is actually working very nice. But the thing was, I was a bit under level for downtown, and you can only get so far with headshots, I guess. But I'm a
Yeah.
little disappointed that snipers are not as involved yet, because I couldn't get any like legendary snipers, and you're very reliant on them having a muzzle slot for silencers.
Yeah.
So if they don't have that silencer slot, I mean, it's pretty much useless for the stealth build, because you need to at least take like 2 or 3 enemies out before they notice you, because you're so squishy.
Right.
So yeah,
Snipers are my worst enemy of the normal enemies, honestly, though, because they can shoot through walls and shit. So,
yeah, yeah.
but here's another small gripe I have that I hope they can fix. Because as a melee character, even though I am quite tanky, I can't just run into a group of 20 enemies and expect to survive because
No.
they will still take me down. But here's
Do
the
you
thing.
think? Yeah.
I tried though, and it went almost, but there comes the gripe where you can do like this kind of Call of Duty esque, sprint and slide and these kind of things, right?
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
And there are many times where I would have desperately needed to be able to burst into a sprint
Mm.
because momentum is very, very important for a melee character and speed.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
But it doesn't. It's like I cannot enter a sprint. It has like a delay. So let's say I do that slide, and there is
Mhm.
I'm already standing up. I did an attack or two, and there's no reason why I can't just like start running again. But I can't for a full 2 or 3 seconds, and it breaks the
Yeah.
momentum.
But I know why, because if you do a slide, I think that, I don't know how, but sometimes when you do a slide, you automatically go into a crouch. It's like a slide into a crouch, and then you have to stand up before you start running. So that's why the delay occurs.
Yeah, it could be, and then there's also times where, for example, I cannot run while I'm charging a heavy attack, which I also feel is dumb because with the katana, I'm just doing that classical. You're just holding the sword up and
Yeah.
running it forwards. It's a lot of, and it just I have to constantly dodge my way forward instead, and it works, but it's not as snappy and fast as I want it to be.
Yeah, but I think that I feel that too, because the reason I went with the pistols was that the melee is just more buggy. It's just more, the enemies, the AI doesn't react as well
Yeah,
to melee. They're a little confused. So if, like you said, if you just dodge around and run around, they can be very confused, and like they can't turn around, and you can like smash them into the ground before they even react. And sometimes they react really well,
yeah.
and you're like just killed instantly, or you feel defenseless. So and I don't really like that type of imbalance, and I feel that that is like a fault of the game because it's not optimized properly and the AI is not responding properly
Yeah.
to very fast movements and flanking maneuvers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's yeah. When you go with guns, it feels a lot more natural.
Mhm.
Why you died and stuff like that. You
Mhm.
feel okay. I died because I engaged them. To head on, and they had they were too high level for me, stuff like that. But with melee, it's more like, oh, okay, I died.
Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
you don't really know why, because sometimes you can run, like you said, and sometimes they just gang up on you really fast and just smash you with some machine gun fire, and you're dead.
but usually that doesn't happen if you have a melee spec though, because then you're so
Yeah,
tanky that it doesn't matter. And I can just jump out of it because I can jump like 3 meters in the air. So I can just jump out of it and just like pop a bounce back and just like get back to wrecking. But
yeah,
the thing
yeah,
is
and that's
though,
back. Yeah.
um, I would say that for the melee spec, it's still a lot of fun, but
Mhm.
it is a little bit OP because like mentioning the downtown part, I
Yeah,
was easily able to punch up like 7 levels over me and not have any major
yeah,
issues. And it almost felt more balanced there because then I actually had to run out, like wreck a nerd or two, and then run back into cover. Um,
yeah.
and it felt more balanced that way. So maybe I should, for my next playthrough, I'll go for hard.
Hmm.
Hopefully they'll have done much more polishing by that time as well.
Yeah, and like we're getting into a very long tangent here. We're over an hour on this podcast, but I feel that it's worth it. So, like going for the perspective of how much are they going to polish it, I think that even like the state of the game right now, it's still a very worthwhile experience on
Absolutely.
PC. And yeah, I've been enjoying the hell out of the game. The story and the setting is like we kind of in a in a premonition in the older podcasts. So we talked about this game. It's very much living up to those standards that we set.
Hmm.
Um, it's a very immersive experience. All the cultural and dystopian um, kind of art style directions are there,
Hmm.
and I
Vehicles are
feel
epic.
also that yeah, vehicles. I mean, vehicles feels really nice, even with the keyboard and mouse that are classically very hard to get right as a control input for vehicles.
Yeah.
I feel that they nailed that, and you really feel the gratification of having a better vehicle, a better car, a better bike. Um, and also, I feel that the combat and the first person RPG style is very much something that still needs some polishing, but is very good. Like using the quick hacks, for instance.
Hmm.
I was very afraid that that would be like a gimmick,
Yeah.
that would be almost you or very. I hate when systems like that is very very specific, and you can kind of feel that. Yeah, the designers were here. You can feel the fingerprint of the game designers just to kind of lead you to use this approach method. It feels less organic that way, but it doesn't feel like that at all. It feels like you have a very broad range of application methods of the hacking.
Right.
Like, you can use almost anything that's connected to a network to distract enemies, or kind of you can use the camera systems to hack you can hack the camera systems and use kind of the the security network to
Mhm.
go onto other the cameras in the
Yeah.
building, and use those to hack into other remote turrets and
Right.
computers and stuff like that. Very very immersive and very
Versatile.
elaborate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and versatile, and you can do that in like small side missions, and it's not just the huge story missions, but you can use that in almost every mission. which is like a huge positive for me.
Yeah, I use it as well, mostly to just do the ping function and these things. But
Yeah.
um, I have no specs in it, and I'm still finding it very useful as sort
Yeah,
of like a
right.
utility tool.
And that's yeah, that's why I kind of wanted to spec in it because at first I only went for guns and stealth, and then I found the hacking so useful that I like, whoa, this is something I need to invest in. And it's actually quite fun to be able to kind of hop onto the camera system, go deep into like a building with that and just outright kill some people
Yeah, yeah,
with frying their electrics. Yeah, so it's quite versatile, like you said, and you can get like some very satisfying situations with the hacking.
yeah. And I mean, to I guess to sum up the hacking, like hacking is essentially this game's magic in a lot of ways. Because you have the RAM as spell slots, and you have like a lot of these direct combat spells, and you have a lot of utility hacks, and like it works essentially like this game's magic, and
Yeah.
it's also very viable. I feel, but ultimately, I think for as we get further into the game, we'll eventually do like a spoiler cast talking about the story
Mm.
and our like final thoughts on the game. But for now, like there was a lot to talk about just from the initial 20 hours, and not to mention the PS4 and the Xbox One versions are apparently completely broken,
Yeah.
like borderline
So
unplayable.
yeah, that's like been the main criticism. I guess that we're kind of spared for that because of the platforms that we play it on, but
Yeah,
people are having like game breaking issues, and even when they're not having issues, the level of quality that they're experiencing is not up to par.
no,
um so that's I feel that this game should not have released in this state at all, and like it's lacking maybe like 4 or 5 months of polish on like all fronts. But I don't know, the PC tweaks and like I said, with the new graphics drivers and the 1.04 bug fixes,
hmm
it's playable to an extent where you wouldn't like say that this is an unplayable experience, but you notice that this has the potential to be an unplayable experience on some platforms.
yeah. So Jesus, bye bye phone. Uh, well, the thing is, like, if you have it on next gen consoles or PC, it is absolutely worth it, even in its current state. And knowing CD Projekt Red history with bug fixes and polishing,
Yeah.
I think that this has the potential to be a masterpiece of a game.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Absolutely. The game, the kind of the groundwork here is amazing. It's amazing, and you feel that like after a couple of hours in, you already feel that immersion.
Yeah.
And it's been a long time since I felt so excited in a game. And like you said, I just grinded out 20 hours in side missions, and it wasn't boring.
No, it
It
was
wasn't
not.
boring at all. Yeah, and it's like generic side missions, like they like go here, go there, kill, retrieve, blah blah blah. But it was still fun and engaging because the combat and the setting was always enough to keep you playing,
Yeah, I
which is
completely agree.
yeah,
There's
yeah,
one last thing I want. I know we're running a little bit long here. There's just one small thing that I want to bring up, which is, I mean, the soundtrack. I thought was very good.
oh
Both
yeah,
both the radio stations and the combat music. Combat music is banger, and there are some really killer soundtracks on the radio as well. And just there, like first of all, Night City is a fucking epic city to just drive around in as well. But when I
Yeah.
was driving there on my Kusanagi bike, and I was just like just cruising, really. There was quite a while until my next objective. I was just driving on the freeway with it and like just listening to that music and doing first person, fully immersed. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. I'm enjoying just joyriding.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that experience it's describes my take on it as well. I just you get immersed in the vibe of the city and like the very Akira like feel,
Yeah,
dystopian future, and it's just the right amount of sexualized violence.
there's a
It's not
lot of
too
that
much,
shit.
but there's a lot of it, and just a right amount of dystopia. I especially love the corpo, that the corporations are kind of almost like governments,
Yeah,
and they have so much power, and I just kind of, I don't know. I love that structure, and the prologue was also actually very well. I felt that it dragged on a little bit at the end. I mean, Act One of the prologue, just before it ended. But I was very actually invested and immersed in the story already.
yeah. And this is even way before Silverhand is even introduced.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Silverhand is introduced like in the end of Act One or start of
End of the
Act
prologue,
Two.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel that all the prologue, when the logo Cyberpunk 2077 was shown, you were like, Jesus, I've been playing this game for like 15 hours now.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not even getting into it. So that was very, positive and promising. And yeah, I feel that I'd always already immersed myself in the game by that point.
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely. Now, the only thing I'm lacking now is a way to make myself look like Adam Smasher.
Yeah,
I want that level of like cybernetics, you know?
he was like, he was going all Mars, all Cult of the Mechanicus on us.
He
He
was
was
definitely
fucking.
flesh is
There
weak.
was not a shred. There was not a biological cell in his body. He was pure mechanical.
I mean, I've barely met him yet, but like just his presence, he's so insanely intimidating and dangerous looking.
Yeah, and he said like to that infiltration woman
He's
something
like,
very demeaning. I can't remember, but it was like,
yeah,
yeah, something
I
about
remember.
flesh and fuck toy and something like that.
Yeah, he's like, you look like a piece of fuckable meat. Are you?
Yeah,
He just passes you.
fuckable meat. Yeah, fuckable meat. That's
Jesus. I was just like, oh boy, this guy knows how to make a first impression.
yeah, yeah. He was very intimidating. I love that the kind of the way you make the big kind of, I don't know, the dystopian bosses of Corpo look very intimidating, even though they are only like fleshy humans. They have
Yeah,
like bots and stuff. Like I don't know if you've encountered the mechs. Yeah, you probably did because
I
that's yeah.
punched it to death with my fists.
Yeah. Then you're over leveled, my guy.
Yeah, whatever. But what were you gonna say about them?
Yeah, I mean, I encountered out like a team of a mech and like 4 or 5 people
Yeah.
out in the streets, and I slowly used like a tactic of hacking them to death
Oh, I see.
from stealth, and then defeating the mech by itself. It was very satisfying, very like yeah. I love that about RPGs being a little bit over leveled and then being able to do stuff like that. Just yeah, it just feels it's so good.
I
That's
agree.
yeah.
You know that whole section where when I met the mech, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try this with my fists. So I just put away the katana and I just charged it and I just like hammered on it. Well, first I took the guards around it because even though those were like armored heavy troopers, it was like two
Yeah.
punches. Like one punch, they're already stunned and prone, and then you just like hit them once while they're down, they're done for. And then you just like
Yeah.
dodge around, just like finish them easily. And then I just like punched the mech, dodged the rocket salvos, punched it a little bit more, and then yeah, it was. I took it down with the gorilla arms, and I was having a blast doing it. It was so fun.
Yeah. So you know what to do, guys. Invest in the gorilla arms.
I mean, I can't even imagine how good the mantis blades must be because just bladed weapons too are amazing. And
Yeah.
there's also that whip and the rocket launcher thing that
That's
you can
fun
have
also.
in your hand, which all of these things
I
I
have
want
the
to try.
rocket launcher. Yeah. The
You
rocket
do?
launcher, it's quite OP actually because I don't know, it doesn't use any ammo, so it's like you have unlimited, apparently unlimited ammo. I don't know, but
uh,
and if you charge it, it does more damage, and especially to like mechs, which have like more points of damage because
yeah,
they have like the arms and the torso and head.
yeah.
You do like a very substantial amount of damage with the rocket arm.
I can't wait to try it.
Yeah. Okay, people, but that's been it for today. Remember to stay humid.
And stay dank.